The ANC in Gauteng is continuing its conference this weekend after it was unable to conclude it 2 weeks ago. The party says it will also be looking at issues of policy, according to the new chairperson, Lindokuhle. Our reporter Lindokuhle Xulu is on that story and joins us now for an update. Lindo, what's on the agenda for this weekend that was left over from the previous conference that was not concluded?
Well, on the agenda here was to follow the words of the former chairperson of the province, that is David Makhura, to say that this particular conference should not be about electing leaders. It should also be a festival of ideas in solving a variety of issues internally and externally as far as the ANC is concerned nationally. And those are some of the things that were set to take place. They were set to actually start with the nomination process of the additional members of the PEC, because we do know that the top 5 had duly been elected last week, on the 26th, that was 26th of June, just last month. And this is the resumption then to say that because they couldn't complete some of the things that I've recalled, that is why we had convened today. But I can tell you that according to my colleague, in fact, I'll quote him, Tula Sizwe, it's take 2 of the ANC here, but it seems that it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. And this is because while they were set to start with the nomination process, there were some of those issues that were raised that they've dealt with before, and one of them was the issue of Ekurhuleni, to say that they need to deal with the quarantine votes of Ekurhuleni, because they ultimately are quarantined here even in this particular conference. And despite the fact that they have adopted credentials under the circumstances, under these same conditions, some of those members from Ekurhuleni have raised concerns and issues to say that this issue must be dealt with before nominations continue. So I can tell you right now that that particular nomination process was since adjourned about an hour, 30 minutes ago. We understand that this is the time that the PEC, together with the steering committee, being part of the steering committee, had requested from the delegates to say that while they go to commissions trying to save this conference, they want to deal with the issue of Ekurhuleni to decide on what to do moving forward, because some delegates are saying let's move forward, others are saying that there's no ways they're moving forward with a quarantined conference. So those are some of the things that were an outcome, and right now I can tell you that that was an hour 30 minutes ago. So in about 10 minutes or so, we're expecting to see the PEC, the steering committee rather, emerging from this particular door just behind me and coming to give us a sense in terms of what is the way forward around this contentious issue that has brought the conference somewhat to a standstill as far as the nomination process is concerned for additional members of the PEC.
Lindo, newly elected chairperson Lindokuhle saying they want to address issues of policy. Is it policy specifically around those quarantined Ekurhuleni votes, or are there other policy issues also on the agenda?
Well, it's not so much policy issues as far as this particular matter of quarantine votes is concerned. There was a regional conference that was held at the region of Ekurhuleni. Unfortunately, there were disputes in terms of when they were starting with the process of adopting credentials. There are those disputes. The decision from some of the people that were there, including the PEC employees, was to say that they must be quarantined and they must be sorted out at a later stage. But a later stage never came for Ekurhuleni, because they had to come to this particular conference with that issue. And before, in fact, this particular conference started last month in June, they had to deal with that as the NEC, because that was escalated to the NEC. But unfortunately, the NEC decided to hand it over to say that the province must deal with it. And it's not just the province, it's the newly elected provincial structure that now must deal with issues of the quarantine votes of the Ekurhuleni conference. So that is exactly what is causing problems here, because some of the delegates are simply saying that we came with a problem here. The NEC failed to address that. They've delegated it to a new structure that also has interest in terms of some of those quarantined votes, as in a way. So they are basically saying that it's not a policy matter. It's a matter that before we even discuss some of the policies, we need to deal with the issue of saying we came here with the problem from the region of Ekurhuleni, and it's becoming a problem of this provincial conference. So in terms of the policy discussion, I can tell you that they are continuing, because they said that that while they adjourn that nomination process that will ultimately see the election of additional members of the PEC, they want this process to continue. So that is why right now there are commissions that are sitting discussing all of those policies, all of those issues that are faced by the people of Gauteng. But I can tell you that before this conference ends, they need to elect a fully complementary PEC, and that includes about 30 more members to the 5 leaders of the PEC, and that will not happen before the steering committee that is sitting now, consisting of NEC deployees, comes up with a solution that will be amicable for both those who are coming from Ekurhuleni and also those that are saying that this conference must continue. So about 1,000 delegates need to be convinced that they need to move on with the nomination process.
Thank you so much for that update from, as you've put it, take 2 of the Gauteng elective conference for the ANC. That was eNCA reporter Lindokuhle Xulu.